We're going to start. Welcome, everyone, to Canada's Food Safety. Actually, Canada's Food and Everything Else Safety Podcast. We'll never get that title right, Dominic. Welcome back.
Thanks, Jay.
So we have a great show lined up. I think this guest is a legend in the industry. I can't wait to hear the stories that he's probably going to tell us. I'm super excited. Can you maybe introduce who we're going to have on the show today, and then we're going to do a little intro and then come back?
Yeah. Do you want me to introduce him or just do kind of like a little bit of a tease?
Let's do tease. Let's tease.
Yeah. Pretty famous.
How long you even known him?
I'm going to say 25 years.
Holy, really?
Maybe more. Longtime friend. I've worked with him, and one of my first customers actually as well. So exciting to have him on our show and to talk a little bit about safety, but more, a lot about the industry and kind of, what works and what doesn't. And he's a great success story as far as employee retention that we've talked about in the past. So I'm excited to talk with him about that because he's and the formula is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be shocking actually how simple it is, but I'm really excited to have our next guest join us and talk about safety, food safety, and a lot of other things. So let's looking forward to it.
I love these moments because these are the stories that we have to keep. These are the people that really built our industries. Really, is these?
Yeah,
these
exactly.
That's
cool. Exactly right.
Awesome. Well, let's come back after 20 seconds of our intro. Here we go.
Hey, Richard. Richard Osiowy from Coco Brooks, the famous or infamous pizza and people companies serving pizza, I think is the tagline for Calgary, and Hilton Stone Distribution. Richard, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Richard, we've known each other a long time. You were one of our Canadian Food Safety's first customers, I'm happy to say. Jay, as we've talked in the past, Richard's kind of a real firm believer in training in general. Like training is important for in any aspect. He's a real believer in systems and having procedures in place and making it easy for employees to do their job, be it technology, equipment, procedure, ingredients. Formulations, like he's big on that. So, Richard, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you, who you are, what you do, and I want to touch a little bit about how Richard got in the food business because you're a mechanic. You like to eat. I know that, like me. We get along very well in that sense.
Commonality, right?
Yeah. So tell us about Richard and Coco Brooks.
Well, I guess, my background, I was trained as a mechanic in Regina, moved to Calgary in 97, and God's sense of humor put me into the pizza business. And I was in sales. Started as a mechanic, went into sales in Regina, moved out here, brought my family, looking for a new career, and I really didn't know what to do and have zero experience in food, but we tried some of the pizza out here and it was not very good. Back in Regina, we had a couple of pizza chains that were very good quality, and we kind of measured it against that, and we decided that, maybe there's a shot at it. So kind of went to a pizza expo spent a couple months kind of researching it, and went to a pizza expo and listened to the keynote speaker was John Shatner from Papa John's, and wasn't really a secret formula about just doing good work. And so we decided to throw our hat in the ring and see how crazy of a journey this could be.
And then how many years later?
So we opened our first store in 1999, April of 99. So it's been a long time. Yeah, coming up 25 years now.
Wow.
Probably the hardest work you've ever done is in the food business. It has so many facets that have to be managed well, and from people to systems to training to food safety to buying, management, human resources. You know, there's just so many things, and all that you have to be good at serving your customer and understanding what your customer wants and trying to deliver it at a cost-effective, good value proposition to get them to come back. So we've done good in that part. I think we're pretty strong in that department.
Yeah,
learning.
And our values align in so many ways. We're on the value side of things. Richard, I worked with him for many years. And the value is always important, but even more important, quality and consistency. So he's a strong believer in that, and that's why I like working with him. I like what they do. The philosophy is really good. The product's beyond reproach. The product's excellent. Jay, you've had it many a time, and Coco Brooks has built quite a reputation for quality and value, and that makes me proud to have him as one of our customers.
Yeah.
The many years ago, one of the challenges, Richard, was employees and new employees and employee retention. And I know that you're going on having some 10 and 12 and even possibly longer employees. I know Frida was kind of an original.
Yep.
So she was probably 20 something years, right?
Correct. Yeah. She left in COVID.
She left during COVID.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Richard, I have a question for you, because I'm a Saskatchewan boy as well.
Yeah.
And then I know what pizza places you're talking about in Regina.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Regina. Who's got a better pie now? Who's got better pizza?
I don't, you know what? As I come out here, I think it's a style of pizza. I think they were good, and we used to know them only because they were, we're just talking about it today. Deck pizzas, you can load them up heavy, you can put a lot of toppings on. You get a really good quality Greek style pizza, right? And that's what you're used to. Running something for 5 minutes through a conveyor oven, you can't put enough sausage on there. So, it is what it is. So they really never played in the space. They weren't really equal competitors. But so I've tasted some pizza out here that's out of deck ovens, and or something, and actually it's good. There's a lot of great pizza on the market, and there's some not great pizza on the market. There's customers for both sides, right? Value, if you want, you really got a limited budget, well then that's kind of what you're going to get. But if you want to pay something to get a lot of toppings, or to have a really good quality, toppings are the definition of quality for you, then you'll pay for that.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
No. I was just, I have so many questions here, because anytime I get to talk to a legend in the industry that's been doing it this long, it's a privilege. But I want to talk about value, because Richard, when did that? Because you went from mechanics, and you started there in Regina as a mechanic, and you went over the pizza side. When was that decision? Because a lot of restaurants, I think today, are thinking about the value that they offer or the quality that they offer. When was that time that you said, you know what, my mission or my purpose is about quality? Was that the beginning, or did you veer and try the more of the cost, the cost pizzas or the products that were very expensive? It wasn't really the value, or was it always been the value from the beginning for you?
Personally, what's our purpose in business? To serve our customers to try to deliver the best we can to them and try to be the most efficient as we can in the delivery. And that secures their loyalty, because if I'm really cost effective on my operations, I can deliver a higher quality product than somebody who's not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm only thinking of myself first, so this is the biblical principle. There's, it's really kind of simple. It's like, treat others as you would like them to treat you.
Yeah.
If I go out for a meal, am I okay if I overpay for a terrible meal? No, probably not. So why would I expect that from somebody else? Or why would I expect us to deliver that to somebody else?
It's interesting because I think a lot of restaurants in the industry today that are succeeding have that mindset, like yourself.
Well,
Right?
I think it comes back to passion, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
industry is incredibly difficult to. You're not going to get rich in this business, and really, if you want to find the best restaurants, they have passion. They love to serve, and it shows up in the taste and quality of their food.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you're not going for the. It's like it's a diverse industry. You can go for entertainment value, ambiance, special occasions. Like there, depending on what the purpose of. If you're just coming for, a cost-effective meal that you may repeat that 2 or 3 times a week or a month. That's a category in itself. But if you're going out for a steak dinner, you may do that once a month or once every few months. So, comparatively, our job is to, try to deliver the best we can for our customers.
I think when you look at, doing a little research before today, you do a lot on fundraising as well. You're leveraging the business that you've created to help others. Can you tell us more about that as well?
Yeah, our fundraising started years ago when a customer had said, "We really love your pizza and we're doing a fundraiser. Can we buy your hot pizzas to do a fundraiser?" And I said, "Well, we really don't discount our product. Our goal is like a Costco mentality. We try to get our price down as low as we can. And then if you buy one or you buy 100, it's the same price." But I says, "You know what? Let me think about that." And by God's design, he gave me an idea to make a frozen pizza. And that allowed us to be able to reach further distances and help, instead of people coming to us all the time and asking for, a donation. Hey, can we support our hockey team? Can you do this? We decided that if we're able to bring forward a frozen pizza, then we could actually help more people, but we partner with them instead of just being a handout. So they really become the sales and distribution force, and we're the manufacturer. So we'll make the pizzas, package them, they sell them, they distribute them, so they get the share of the money. And in that, it's kind of a good partnership. And if we've done a good job, we can help get repeat business, get that product out into the mouths of people that may or may not even know about us. In fact, so many people think we only sell frozen pizzas.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Dominic, you know what? Dominic's like, I'll just let Jay talk. I have so many questions. There's just
there's lots to talk about, right?
20-something
years in the business, and
this is the thing that I think is so awesome about podcasting, and we have people like Richard on the show, is that there's so many people that are not getting into the industry today because they hear the stuff that's out there about how hard it is and everything else. But there's got to be a lot of joy that comes in this too, Richard. What's that? I always ask people, what's that moment when you sit back and everything's kind of in that slow motion, and you're like, you know what, I'm having a great time here. What's that like for you?
Well, when I get there, I'm going to let you know. It's every day, right?
Yeah.
When I get up in the morning, and I thank God for my legs work and my eyes work and my body works. And I'm not sore and I can actually go to work. Because what would my day be like if I wasn't able to walk today? Or what would my day be like if I couldn't see? So I'm thankful and happy that I have a purpose. And you get up every day and you put your big boy pants on and you go to work and you help people. You help your staff by managing, that keeps them a job so that they can feed their families. You have customers that need a meal so they can go back to work. There's a lot of people that it's a very intricate part of a big picture that everybody has a purpose to get up every day and kind of working with a purpose. So yeah, I think it's the joy. What I've learned over the time is if you really knew how hard it is, it's like every task in our life. If you really know how hard it would be to be married, nobody would get married.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you know how hard it would be in the food business, nobody would get in, or business period. But it's the resilience, the knowledge, the experience, the relationships, the highs and lows that come with that journey. So I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's been a very, very challenging time at times, but it's fun. I enjoy every day.
Yeah, it's also in your name. It says, it says Coco Brooks, a people company serving pizza, meaning, what I take from that is that people are first. Food is second. The food happens, in your case, it also happens to be good, and there's good value, right? So there's a bonus, right? So but primarily you're working with people and for people and for good in many different ways, by employing people, by giving people a steady employment. The majority, I believe, of your workforce is full-time as well.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we try to give everybody full-time benefits, and with respect. And when there's challenges in their life, like things happen, and we try to adjust to be able to help them through the crisis in their life. And then it's kind of like that's what it is. And if we're able to do that, there's more loyal because you realize that I'm not in this alone, and if somebody would actually help me through the time when I'm really down, then I like that. I appreciate it. And we have some people coming up to 17 years. I think Travis is 17.
Wow.
Yeah, freshly over 10, many over 10. Like we have a very small turnover, that's a blessing in itself. And it really comes, it's our attitude, it's how we help, it's how we care. And leadership, I think, is probably the most important of that is if the leader cares for people and everybody cares for each other, everybody helps take care of each other. Now, it's not perfect and it doesn't work out for everyone, but it starts at the top. And, like the Bible says, and Jesus says, if you want to be the leader, you must be the servant. So if you're always there to help each other, they're willing to help you, and then they'll lift you up to be the leader. But if you stand there just with a stick and beat everybody for doing what they do wrong, that's not leadership. That's militant, and people don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and I think the last couple of years have, it is the hospitality industry for a reason. Treating people right goes a long way. Not just for the people, but for the business. There's a business benefit to doing that, and training. Obviously, we like to talk about training, but it's all part of the bigger picture. Is that when you have a successful business like Richard does, there's challenges, like you said, training, retention, treating people right goes a long way in also serving your customers and the community, because they know that you're there to serve them, and it's the same people doing the same good work day in, day out. We have an employee like that. We have Chelsea in our office. She was away. She left a day early, and she didn't put her out of office on. And people were calling, asking about her because she wasn't replying. She usually replies in 5 or 10 minutes.
Wow.
She's like super, super efficient, but they were worried about her. So that feeling of family, which many people identify in the food service industry, not only internally, with the people you work with, but also your customers. Your customers get to know you, and you have many repeat customers that have purchased products for years and years and years. And I've met people that have done fundraisers way back when you first started, and that some of their their older kids are now doing it for other families. So there's this connection back to the community that's really important. And like we said at the beginning, Jay, it's a pretty simple concept of treat others as you'd like to be treated. And many businesses, I think, unfortunately, have not they lost that connection. I don't know if it was because of sort of this great resignation where lots of people left during the pandemic, but generally there seemed to have been a little bit of a decrease. You kind of get that sentiment that people are people feel like they're not getting treated right.
Yeah. But
Richard,
I think more people like Richard. Well, I was going to say, Richard, you could probably do a master class on leadership for our industry, because those are the fundamentals. Is just what you were saying. And I think we need to talk more about it, because it needs to show that there's a success rate with that leadership. It's simple math.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, and here's a good sign that sits in our boardroom here. It says, work for a cause, not for applause. Live life to express, not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Make your absence felt. So, you know what? There, from the Bible, it says we serve. There's two things that we battle our whole life. It's serving others or serving ourselves. The more we serve ourselves, the less we care about others and the more we want from them. And that doesn't really make a very good relationship. The more we serve others, the more they want to be around us, the more friends we have, the more peace you have, the more support you have. So it really comes back to our choice of putting others first in all things. And when it comes to, like food safety and safe check, yeah, our whole goal always is to be the best we can in all things, especially if we identify something that's wrong. Then once it's knowledge, we can't hide it. We need to correct it. So, and if you're, making a meal for your grandmother or your daughter, would you do that? Would you cheat the system? No, you wouldn't. So consider everybody how they're really important, and their health, their well-being is equally important as anybody in my family or our families.
Do you do a lot of training, Richard, with your staff?
Yeah, I think we have really good leadership, I think, which is good. So they're always constantly training people. So, and a lot of it is when you have a long-term people, you don't have to continue to put a lot of training in. And really training is, if you treat others well, you set the example and they will start to follow that. I've just hired a new sales guy in another venture that we've got, and getting a chance to work with him and explaining situations like that arise and get him to see it from the customer's eyes. And when we do that, his comeback result is always really good. But his initial response is often, this guy's putting me out. He was supposed to, yesterday he was going to see a customer out of town, out in Beaumont, and he was leaving at 9 a.m. And then the customer texts and says, I won't be there till 2. Well, he's going, well, I got plans. I can't. I told him I'm going. So he said, he phoned the shop and says, are you guys there? He goes, yeah. Are you guys open? Yeah. I says, well, you can go up there and you can do your demonstration for the people there. But it says if the owner comes and you're gone already, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be that impressed. So I would just wait, find something to do for a couple hours, reschedule your time. You're going to make it. It's going to work out on our side. And after it was all done, he came back this morning and we talked about it and had a briefing. And yeah, customer was happy, apologized. He was thankful. So yeah, sometimes people do put us out and we don't really like it because we have to change our plans or restructure stuff. But welcome to customer service. It's business, right?
It always changes. Well, I think empathy is like one of the biggest things right now. We have to practice more.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have to, in business and in our industry, empathy is so important because there's people are going through so much outside of our circle of work. Right.
Right. Yeah. So let's say that, this guy disappointed you because he changed the plan. But if you found out that his daughter was just in a car accident, would that change your attitude? Where his dog died or his wife said, I'm leaving you, like, would that change? So maybe just give him a benefit of the doubt and just say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to let this one go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richard, share with us a little bit about the other side. So Coco Brooks is 3 dine-in restaurants and takeout, I guess, and delivery as well, right? So there's all 3 things there. How does Hilton Stone play in here, and what is that, and why is that important? I'm not suggesting that everybody go out and do this, but why does that work for Coco Brooks and Hilton Stone and that relationship between those 2 companies? And what's the benefit and what's the downside of it maybe as well?
Yeah, well,
that's a big question. Sorry.
That's a doozy. Way to go, Dominic.
Big question, but I'll try to answer it quickly. In the beginning, my background was automotive distribution. We were in warehouse distribution, so we understood the warehouse, the dealer, the jobber, the retail network. So that was an understanding to me. When we started Coco Brooks and as we started to grow, we wanted to be able to control our product flow, and we wanted to use it as an efficiency. So we started Hilton Stone Distribution as a sister company to Coco Brooks, and its sole purpose was just to supply. So every product, every piece of equipment, every food, packaging, equipment, supply would come through distribution. So when we delivered to the store, it was one vendor, one delivery, one invoice, one payment. So that made it efficient at the store level instead of having to receive Coke and Cisco and packaging, and you could have 10 vendors. It becomes a lot of extra work, and sometimes if they're not paying attention, there's mistakes can happen. So, and it allowed us to be efficient, because if we're bringing one delivery, we can charge less. We can make a smaller margin because we're getting enough money to be able to fund the operation and run the distribution side. So, and we didn't have salespeople in the middle because it was all kind of pre-planned. So it was just a part about being efficient. Our efficiencies on the distribution side allows us to possibly have a lower food cost, which allowed us to be more competitive in the marketplace, delivering a higher quality product at a better value. So it had a lot of strategic purpose to be there. But the downside, it's a big expense. It's a lot of management. It's a lot of extra investment. It's a lot of work. But it's a very good balance to help us to be as strong as we are today.
Cool. And do you also source your own equipment for your restaurants? You don't rely on some outsiders to design and figure that out for you, what the equipment's going to be.
Yeah, I think what happened was, it's not a short to the industry, but a lot of times, if you don't know, if you go to the local equipment dealer and you say, I'd like to buy a pizza oven, and he says, well, I'll sell you this one. This is the price. You don't know if it's the best oven. You don't know if it's the only oven. You really don't know unless you go do some research. But if you just walk up and say, okay, I'll buy it, I guess it's good. You don't really know if you bought a good oven or a lemon. So I did a lot of traveling to the trade shows and really spent the time to learn. Because of the mechanical background I have, I was able to, understand equipment probably a lot better than people in the industry traditionally. And I could see some things that would make sense to me, and I got to know the questions to ask a manufacturer. Why is yours better than his? And then it was just a way of doing a lot of research, and then I could make some better decisions on the equipment, because upfront price is one part of it, but it's cost of ownership over time is really important, and maintenance and breakdown is extremely important because they happen at the worst times, and it's very stressful. So having that ability to go out to industry and look at the big picture, and then kind of do your due diligence and spec something that you believe would be good. And sometimes I would buy used just to give it a test drive to make sure that it did do what I wanted it to do. And if it did, then I could go and buy new after that.
Richard, does some of your mechanic past come into this?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I love that.
Because I'm able to understand how stuff works, and
Yeah.
I can fix and service some of our equipment, not all of it, but also just knowing how hydraulics work and electricity works and mechanical works and stuff. It's a very big benefit.
Yeah, that's we encounter people that are new into the food service business, and they're looking for advice. They're looking for when they come to us, they're looking for training and permitting and stuff, and we try and point them in the right direction. We obviously got the training part down, but the permitting, and a lot of time, obviously a lot of people would benefit from taking that approach to it, and that always doesn't happen. It's beneficial to talk to somebody that's been in the industry a long time. I'm not saying you're old, but
Yes, you are.
Nice job.
the benefit of talking to somebody that's been around for a little bit and has gone through those, or listening to something like this, right, has gone through those trials and tribulations, and speaks to you, and I know you do a lot of this with people that come to you. When you speak to somebody and you say, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered this? Have you considered this? They understand that it is a lot deeper than, just finding a cheap space and throwing a pizza oven in there, or throwing a grill or a fryer in and starting to sell food. It's a little more complicated than that. And I think there's a lot of failures because people just jump in both feet first, and they don't consider a lot of these things, right? They make a lot of, maybe a lot of people would call them rookie mistakes, but they would make mistakes. We see it all the time on the food safety side, right? They crash and burn because they want to shortcut some things, or they're taking risks that they shouldn't be. And I think it's the same with equipment. It's the same with many things that are in the restaurant that a lot of people would benefit from doing a little more research and speaking to an industry leader like Richard, or somebody else that people might be afraid to approach a business and say, hey, I want to know about your business. I think they'd be surprised to know that there's a lot of people out there like Richard who are willing to share. They don't have unlimited time, but they have time to kind of, like, from this people perspective, to help guide or give you, not necessarily here's how you should do it, but their opinion on here's what's worked for me and here's what hasn't. And too often, I think a lot of people, this would be in anything, they're afraid to go out there and ask those questions, or they don't even know that they should. And I would highly recommend that they would.
So, Richard, I got a question for you on what Dominic is saying. So a lot of the times, people like yourself are telling all this amazing information, and then a lot of people say, you know what, I got to learn it on my own. What does that blend look like of learning it on your own, but also learning from people with experience like yourself? What's that look like?
Yeah, I think it's situation dependent, person dependent. The first time your mom tells you don't touch the stove till it's hot, because it's hot, and you go, well, you can't quantify that. So what she told you is when she turns around, you're going to touch the stove and you're going to burn your finger, and it burns a memory. It records a memory in your head, and next time you see a stove, not to touch it. We learn by experience. Some of us learn better by experiences than we do by the book. So some things you can tell somebody, but they technically have to learn it on their own. Hopefully, I don't think we have enough life to be able to learn all the things ourselves. We have to trust other people. But you can ask the question of why. When it comes to food safety, there's some things that, yeah, you really can't, you can't cheat, because you're going to put you're going to put somebody's life at risk, or the whole organization, and every job and all your investment and all your hard work. You could put that at risk and lose it all overnight. So you have to be, considerate, be diligent to make sure that the minimum requirements that you're called to do, you have to do, but go above that and try to be the best you can in that part.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. The minimum requirements or the government mandated regulations aren't always the best thing to just be doing. Exceeding them helps you possibly make you different in the marketplace, but it also gives the consumer confidence that you're leaders, and you're not just kind of doing the minimum. You're doing everything that you're a believer in technology as well, that technology and advancements allow you to do. So if it can be safer, you want to know about it. If it can be better, you want to know about it. And that's the cool thing, and I admire that you do in your business. One of the things that continue to challenge the industry is new people that are coming into the industry. What would be what would be 2 minutes of advice to somebody that's getting to brand new into the food service industry, and they're thinking about, hey, I want to start a falafel shop, I want to start a doner shop, I want to start a pizza shop, a sub shop. What's the $5 advice?
Well, if I have somebody new coming in that kind of brings that question forward, first question I ask is, have you been in a car accident? Did you hit your head on cement somewhere? And after that, then I said, are you really serious? You want to get, do you know it's a difficult position? But I had a couple that came in. She was Asian, he was white, they're married, she's pregnant. They said, we want to get into the food business. And I said, like, are you nuts? She's an accountant, he's got an HR position. But she said it well. And I think she says, we do great financially, but I hate going to work every day. And you have to have a passion to serve, to be in this business. And that's what keeps you going. You don't come into the food business to make money, because you're not going to get rich. You might be able to eke out a decent living, or you're going to starve to death. But if you can't, it's got to be in your blood to serve other people. And in that, then you have the passion to drive. When everybody else is going home, you're still grinding, because you know things have to get done.
There's so many stories like that people go into this industry with this passion. I just love it. I love hearing that, because I think you have to. I think it becomes, you have to become obsessed with what you're. It's almost like a dream of going through it.
You really have to be. You know what? And I think the part of cooking a meal, if you look at a mom or a grandma that cooks a meal for the family, there's so much joy in them serving their family. And when everybody is, eats a lot and is full and they're very thankful, it's a heartfelt appreciation for all the hard work you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what serving food is to people. Oftentimes the people who cook their own food, they don't like the taste of it. It's just, because it doesn't taste special. But when somebody cooks a meal for you, it tastes better than you would cook it yourself most times.
Yeah, so true. It could be the exact same thing.
It's so true, though. Eh?
Yeah,
but that's because the difference is passion, right?
Yeah.
And that's what comes out when somebody's serving another person. And that's the part that, if you have that, what I've learned to not do anymore is judge anybody coming into the industry. Because I had these two guys coming in with this idea. They're starting a wine bar in Marteloup. And I thought these guys were beyond nuts. But they killed it. Their place was the biggest boardroom. And it was like, it was just the craziest setup, but they killed it. They're doing so good.
Awesome.
And I'm like, wow. Okay, that just shows how much I don't know.
I
Yeah,
love that.
you know what? That to me, that's also good advice, right? Is to remember to be humble and to remember we don't know what we don't know. There's so much that
Yeah.
we do not know.
No.
And again, this is why I would strongly encourage people that are thinking of starting in the food service business or in any endeavor is to seek the counsel of somebody that's been around just a little bit more than yourself, and ask them, what worked, what didn't work, and those things might or might not work for you, but at least you're going to have that knowledge to be able to make that decision, and it's so important. Jay, Richard, thank you so much. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, future for Coco Brooks is there growth? Where's the growth in these challenging times? How does a restaurant grow? What's the path? What's the
Yeah,
path?
yeah. What's the
What's the path
secret?
to success right now? You made. I think you and Jay were talking a little bit before we started. We've got all these pressures, the government, with expenses, carbon taxes, and plastics, and all these crazy things, environmental and waste restrictions, and all sorts of extra costs, driving up the costs for consumers. How does a restaurant succeed in this?
Challenging.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. What I was saying earlier to Jay is that our whole world changes daily. And we have to, if you're afraid to change or hate change, well, then it's going to be harder for you. But if you have to embrace it and think through it, that's what gives us the ability to get up every day and keep fighting. So you come up with new ideas. You have to talk to people. You have to use your coconut. You have to do something, try things, learn things, and you'll find ways through it. But you can't be defeated because somebody changes the rules for you. You become victorious when you plow through that. And that's what gives you the confidence to not be beaten down and then just be held back by fear. And the other side is don't listen to the media.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're filled with a bunch of fear and you're filled with all the negatives, but how about all the positives that are going out there every day? We hear about, a shooting in Edmonton or something in a mall, but how about how many people that went to work every day and supported their families and got their grandma to the hospital and went for a visit there's millions of great stories that happen every day, but the media plasters us with one crazy one, which it's always been a part of our life. And now that social media is here, we get to hear all the crazy across the world. We think the whole world, it's been like this since the beginning of time. Yeah. But if you stop listening to it, it's amazing how your day gets better.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true.
It's so true.
So when people talk about like our industry is going through change, it is hard, and we all have high food costs and our customers changing. What are you doing to adapt? As I said earlier to Jay, that some people, I'm sad to say, will be caught in a transition time. Like, if you could have had the best video rental store in the business, you could have been Blockbuster and still gone broke. So there's never a guarantee in business. It's always dynamic, which if it was static and somebody locked up the whole video business like Blockbuster and every movie rental went through them, well, what fun would that be? But it's a good indication is that if you can be a multi-billion-dollar company and fail, or you could be a mom and pop and fail, or both of those can succeed. But the first sure thing is you have to change. You have to pay attention to the change that's going on about you and try some new things.
Yeah. Yeah. So important that people, not keep doing the same things, because, some of those haven't worked, and a lot of them are not going to continue to work in the future. So yeah. Change and adapting is important. Stepping back and looking at things. This is one of the things I encourage is to step back and look at your operation, without your own sort of rose-colored glasses on, to take a critical look at it, and you'll probably find a lot of things that can be changed from an efficiency. I would never say don't compromise on quality or safety, but there are ways to adapt and change and make things actually better at possibly a lower cost without compromising safety or quality for your customers. And probably one of the most important things would be to listen to your customers. I know we do that in our business. We're really keen on that, in getting that feedback and making and adapting to meet their needs. And
Dominic,
yeah,
can I jump in on that? Because I want people to hear this, because this is your food safety podcast, and you're not just saying that. So people that are going to listen to this, I actually do see you doing that, and the more that I've worked with you over this last year, you do that. So it's not just talk, because a lot of people say that, and it's this whole you walk the talk. Let's put it that way.
We do, and I
Yeah.
My neighbor is Richard. My landlord is this other guy, and I see that in his business, and I've seen what he's done, and I admire that. I admire that in business, when they're willing to. It's hard sometimes, because sometimes it hurts to hear you suck, right? Somebody tells you suck at this, or you made a really big mistake.
That's a blessing.
It is.
If somebody gives you structured criticism, hey, don't take it personally. Listen to what they have to say and try to find what the truth is in there. Now, some people are just going to complain and they say, well, I found a hair on the carpet in the bathroom. Okay, sorry about that. But if they said I found something wrong with the food, thank them, because they're telling you, because 9 customers won't come back. The one guy who complains, he's actually helping your business. So give him credit and pay him double. Pay him double for telling you. Make sure that his meal, that the one we screwed up, is covered, but give him a free one. Because you need people like that to tell you what's going wrong. You're so involved in your day-to-day operations, you can't always see where the mistakes are.
And it's that whole, giving the son the medicine, it's a whole thing that they're trying to do good for you. It may not come across sometimes that they're trying to do the best for you, like you said, Richard, but I think a lot of people want to see our restaurants succeed. They're there. They love it. Sometimes they just say the wrong things and it comes off wrong. But like you said, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, they're just trying to help you.
Yeah.
Like Dominic, you do that all the time. He tells me about his dining stories at airports.
He complains about everybody. He finds gristle in every piece of food that we ever test.
Yeah. I was the gristle detector.
We're the gristle detector. Good. But it is true. But you're trying to help. You mean it from the heart that you're trying to help them.
Yeah, for sure. And, what? And that's I think I would say this to consumers, if anybody wanted to listen to me, is when you give the restaurant 1 star, would you have been better off to go into the restaurant and say, hey, I had a bad experience, versus going on Google, giving them a 1 star and not saying anything at all, or giving them a 1 star with some ridiculous complaint. That serves nobody. And if people are just doing that to make themselves feel better, I would say don't. Go to the restaurant and say, here, I had this bad experience. I'm not going to leave a review. I wanted to tell you. And, and that's it, without any expectation. Now, if the restaurant's like what Richard said, if, they're going to treat you right and they're going to say, sorry, thanks for the feedback, we're going to correct that, please come back, right? That's a good way of handling that complaint. And you know what? We talk about that in our food safety training. We talk about customer complaints. And exactly, we don't say they're a blessing, they're a gift, but they're a blessing, right? So it's important to get that feedback from your customers, to solicit it directly from them, so that you can make those changes and make them for the better. Richard, thank you so much.
Before you, we had a customer call us or gave us an online feedback of how bad the service was or how bad the food was, and it was terrible. We'd never go back there, blah, 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 blah. She went on pretty hard. And you know what? All I could do is apologize, say, you know what? I don't really know what happened. We're going to look into it. Very sorry for the inconvenience. apologized. We gave her all what she lost in that bad experience, and then we doubled it and gave her, to try again. And she says, she wrote back in that same feed, and she says, you know what? I would have never come back, but the way they handled it, I'm impressed, and I will come back. So it's your opportunity to get the customer back if you choose.
If you choose, I think that's the key. If you choose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately some businesses have become jaded to some of this feedback where they're not engaging with the customers that leave the negative feedback, and they should, to really try and critically look at their business to figure out maybe that complaint is legitimate. Not every customer is wrong. Most of them are right. Most of them are right.
But the other side is, you know what? Don't run your business on a few complaints that you get. If you got 99% of your customers are very happy, focus on what you're doing good.
Exactly.
So don't get caught up to, I don't watch our stars. I don't really care. I care about every customer comes in. If there's a concern, we'll address it. But at day-to-day operations, are we kind? Are we polite? Are we helpful? Are we safe? Are we delivering a value? Is it consistent? Is our quality there? All of those things will give the customer the confidence that we're doing our best to earn your business every day. And I think that's what's the hardest part in the food business is we have to earn our keep one meal at a time. We screw up twice, we're probably going to lose that customer because there's so much competition around here, around everywhere. So there's
everywhere,
1,000 places for them to spend their lunch money on or their dinner money or whatever. So it's a very competitive marketplace. So be prepared to fight.
Yeah, and with that, I'll say, train your staff, because you have the benefit of having long-term staff that know how to treat customers, and that's a benefit to your business, right? 100%. And so to the broader industry, there's a benefit to having long-term employees. There's a benefit to paying higher wages and to having benefits for your employees, because a happy employee is going to treat your customers right. It really is that simple. And I see it as a success next door at Coco Brooks. I see it as a success in our small business. And well,
you taught me everything we know.
Well, on the food safety side, yeah. And I've learned from you. So, and this is no way to try and lower my upcoming rent increase. So,
I'm just softening the blow. That's all.
Is that another secret?
Well, it's control costs. We benefit from our relationship. In we have space next door to Hilton Stone and Coco Brooks, and it works well for us. But Richard, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on all the good work you do and serving the community. And for 25 years of Coco Brooks will be 25 years next year or the year after. When will that be?
Next year, probably coming up in April. In what's this 2020? Yeah, April will be 25. We're 1999. We opened.
Wow, cool.
Wow.
We're going to be 25 years from our founding next October. Like, we incorporated in 2000, but we started in
really.
Yeah, we started in 99 as well. So it's congratulations on 25 years of success and serving the community, and all the good work you do, and the support you give to many employees with good, steady employment. I think that's the real success story at Coco Brooks. As much as there's good food and good quality and good value, the cool thing, like I've shared with you, Jay, is that having 17 and 12 and 10-year employees in food service is not the norm.
It's very odd. Very odd.
But a lot of people can learn a lot of things from looking at that. It's not a complicated model that that they have. Like you said, you're not going to get rich overnight doing it, but you're going to have a lot of peace of mind in who you serve and how you serve, and the community is going to benefit from having a business like Coco Brooks in their community. So thanks again, Richard.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Richard, for everything, and it's been outstanding. I do have a question though.
Yeah. Cost you $1.
Was it you that came up with the banana bread pizza? Like
Yes.
seriously? That's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's brilliant, by the way. Dominic, I'm coming down for we'll get one of those next time I'm down.
Okay.
Is that just for the holidays? Is that just a holiday?
No.
Every day.
No? Well, Dominic, I know I'm having when I come down.
Okay.
But thank you so much, Richard. Have a great evening, and Dominic, thanks again for a great show again.
Thanks,
It's
Jay.
awesome.
Thanks,
Cheers.
gentlemen.
See you
Have a
guys.
good